بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله وكفى وسلام على عباده الذين اصطفى أما بعد. The conclusion of the last 2-3 days is that just as we aspire for a decent career for our children and at the same time a sensible career choice, it is also important that we look at the tarbiyah of our children as well, that they have a dini mindset, and this dini mindset leads them to be respectful, obedient, simple people, not too complicated. And I mentioned yesterday that if your child at the age of 16, 17, 18, they might not be as advanced as other children, maybe in studies, academically, etc. However, if they've got these qualities inside them, they have a good grounding, they are respectful, they have basically appreciation of their parents, of their family, of what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given, then basically this is a great ni'mah. A great ni'mah. And Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam in one hadith he stated that ما نحل والد ولدا من نحل أفضل من أدب حسن. ما نحل والد ولدا من نحل أفضل من أدب حسن. The best gift, tuhfa, what we call, the best gift a father, a parent can give to his child is adabun hasanun. Good manners, good tarbiyah, good qualities, good discipline. This is the best gift a parent can give to their child. Everything else is secondary. If you look at this from a different angle, jo dunya muqaddar ki hai wo to milegi. Whatever Allah has written for you, whatever rizq, provision Allah has written for you, you will receive. We hear the hadith again and again. أَلَا إِنَّ نَفْسًا لَن تَمُوتْ حَتَّى تَسْتَكْمِلَ رِزْقَهَا. No person dies until they have fulfilled and completely received their share of provision which has been written by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But when it comes to adab and character and discipline and tarbiyah and quality, parents, they have to play a very important part. And it all begins at home. It all begins at home. On the sidelines, let me mention that, sometimes we think that I'm sending my child to madrasa, to maktab, and that's the department of tarbiyah. That's the department of discipline. No, it's not. Madrasa is not a correction facility. Back in the days, if a child was kind of going off the tracks a bit, what would parents try to do? Dump them in some Darul Uloom, Dewsbury, Bury, wherever. That's the honest truth. If somebody was going off track, in Darul Uloom muklijo. That used to be the slogan, in a Darul Uloom muklijo. Okay? We think Darul Uloom is a correction facility. It's not. Darul Uloom is for those students, for those youngsters who want to gain knowledge. It's not the job of the teachers to constantly manage them. You've got a child coming into Darul Uloom, he's addicted to drugs maybe, or he's got other bad habits. That's not the job of the Darul Uloom now to basically work on those bad habits. No. Darul Uloom's job is to educate your child. And the tarbiyah which you've already given at home, take it to the next level. It's not a correction facility. Same thing with the maktab. It's not a correction facility. Your child goes to maktab, they learn about Islam, Quran, adab, akhlaq, seerah, history, etc. At the same time, there is some sort of engagement with tarbiyah, etc. But if you expect that that's it, job done, it's confined to this only, then it's a very wrong, it's a very big misconception of ours. Tarbiyah begins at home and from a very early age, to the extent that they say that the first 5 years, sometimes we think when he's 10, 11, we'll look into it. Yeah? When he's 10, 11, we'll look into it. No. The first 5 years of a child's life, they are the most important. They have the most significant impact on the child for the future. And from the first 5 years, they say the first 3 years are even more important. The physical development, the emotional, the cognitive, their reasoning, their thinking, all develops at this age, at this critical age, which nowadays, what do we see kids doing at home nowadays? So mom and dad can rest in peace. Mom and dad can have some me time on social media and WhatsApp. Little kids are being given tablets at Ram. Let's keep him quiet. Ya Allah. The worst thing you can give to your child for their development, the worst thing. The absolutely worst thing. This is like poison. I was in Afghanistan in February, and I had a brother with me from Preston as well, who works in the NHS. So as part of his daily impartment of NHS principles, he told me one day that although I don't take sugar in my tea, he goes, Maulana, this white sugar, we call it white poison in the hospital. That's how bad it is. That's how bad it is. Well, this is the poison. This is also a poison. This is also a poison that we give to our children from a young age, and we don't realize that how addictive they are becoming. And then you expect that same child, when he reaches 10, 11, go into Hifz class. Yeah? Someone who's been addicted from anything from 3-4 hours a day to maybe 10 hours on the weekend, we expect them to go from 0 to 60 overnight, and they go into Hifz class. They're going to sit to read for 1 hour at night, 45 minutes, 1 hour in the morning. They're going to go to madrasa, and they're going to suddenly magically wean themselves off gadgets and games. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. And if you study failures in Hifz class, it's usually down to this. Failure in Hifz class, I would say 50%, 60% is because of the addiction to social media, gadgets, etc. Electronic games. 50, 60% of failure in Hifz class, you can attribute it to that. So coming back to tarbiyah, that it begins at a very early age. And I just said the first 5 years are the most important. And if the first 5 years are so important, what's the next logical conclusion? That one parent needs to be at home with the child in these formative foundational years. In the first 5, 6 years of that child's life, before that child starts going to school, and now they are out of the house from maybe 8 in the morning, 9 in the morning till 3 o'clock p.m., 3:30 p.m. The parent, one parent, and ideally the mother must be with the child to give them that warmth, that emotion, and that upbringing which the child requires. And I mentioned earlier, and we've looked at this again and again, that Islam has placed the burden of being the breadwinner upon the father, upon the boy, not upon the mother. And if we as a community don't appreciate that there are some shared responsibilities, and then there's responsibilities which a particular gender has to fulfill, if we can't appreciate that, then hum aur goro mein koi fark nahi hai. Seriously, I'm going to say it very openly. There is no difference between us and the liberal, Western-minded people, basically, who we live amongst. There is no difference between us. If we can't differentiate between these roles, responsibilities, etc. So it's very important that we appreciate these things. We understand these things, that these are the formative years of my child's life, etc., etc. I was just reading a few articles as part of my research. There's a lot of non-Muslim women out there, professionals. And when I say professionals to a very high level, they've given up their careers for the sake of their children. Yes, they've given up their careers. They were earning maybe 50, 60, 70,000 pounds a year. They first tried to ask their boss for reduced hours. Okay, and if you are in a high-flying career, usually that request is going to be met with a no. despite all the equality laws and all that they bang on about, flexible working and all that, that's just all on paper. Wallahi, it's all on paper. Illa mashallah. Okay, the only places where you get away is any government job, civil service. All those who work in HMRC, NHS, they can do whatever they want. Because down there the managers just can't be bothered, or will be taken to court, tribunal, this, that. Yes, sign everything off. But if you're working for a private company, I can see some grins here as well. Okay, I've actually worked in the DWP many years ago, Department for Work and Pensions, and I know how it is. Okay, when I used to go there at 7 in the morning, there's nobody there. Okay, all the gores used to come at 9 o'clock. 7 till 9, basically. I won't tell you what, basically. But, so, these women, these are women with, big careers, big job roles. They've given them up for their children. They have actually given them up because they can see that my child needs me. If they can, alhamdulillah, appreciate this need, we as Muslims, we should be at the forefront of this. That our children come first. The upbringing, the tarbiyah, the nurturing, that connection and bond which my child needs, I need to be there for them. Not that basically dump the child in nursery at the age of 12 months, 15 months, 18 months, and chalo kampar. Basically, I've run a nursery as well for 12, 13 years. And I used to see parents come in, mums coming, feeling guilty and leaving children as young as 7, 8 months in the nursery. I've seen it. I'm not talking as from second or third hand experience. I'm talking from first hand experience, basically. And wallahi, what a mother can give to the child, nobody else can give. Nobody. What the father can give to the child, wallahi, nobody can give. Nobody. You've got to appreciate that. Nobody can make up for that care, that love, that attention which the child deserves and desires. And, I don't want you to think that I'm sharing out roles and responsibilities here in a manner where dad's going to do this and mum's going to do this and dad won't do these things. No. Basically, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, always look at him and the Sahaba as an example. Hazrat Aisha radiyallahu anha was asked, قِيلَ لِعَائِشَةَ مَاذَا كَانَ يَعْمَلُ رَسُولُ اللَّهِ صَلَّى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وَسَلَّمْ فِي بَيْتِهِ. What did the Prophet used to do in his house? Remember, the Sahaba used to see him in public places, in public spaces, in the masjid, etc., outside, okay, on the battlefield, etc. They did not know what used to happen in the four walls of his house. So who was the best person to ask? The Azwajul Mutahharat radiyallahu anhunna. So they asked Aisha radiyallahu anha that what was his routine inside the house, basically. قالت, she replied, كان بشرا من البشر. He was just a normal person. He was just a normal person. You think that in the house, 24/7 he was engaged in ibadah. No. He basically, يفلي ثوبه ويحلب شاته ويخدم نفسه. He used to basically, clean his own clothes and milk his own, his animal. And يخدم نفسه. He used to tend to his own self. He did not expect others to do his khidmah, basically. And that's exactly what I want to point out. That as the dad, basically, yufli thawba, if you want to equate that with nowadays, you could maybe put the washing machine inside and maybe the dishwasher as well. You guys filling up the dishwasher or emptying the dishwasher, and your children doing that, and your son doing that, and you teaching him to do that from a young age, that's nothing wrong with that. That's important. That's important. That sometimes, especially when the mother, she's young, she's got 2, 3 children, it's not easy. Okay, grappling with 2, 3 young children, 1-year-old, 3-year-old, 7-year-old, 8-year-old, they've got school work, madrasa work, this, that. Every now and then you doing this, there's nothing wrong with that. Okay, in fact, you should do it. And yahlibu shata, I don't think anybody's going to have any billy goat gruff anytime soon in their backyard that they're going to milk. So you can equate that to what? Shopping. That, you take responsibility of doing the bulk of the shopping. Some things you've got to leave it to the ladies of the house because masalo. But the basic shopping, you can do that. That can save the women an hour or two, basically, and you might even save some money as well, okay? And yakhdimu nafsa. Occasionally if you iron your own clothes because your wife's not well, or you can tell she's a bit run down with the kids, etc., there's nothing wrong with that. In fact, that should be part and parcel of the tarbiyah which you should be giving, we should be giving basically to our children. If Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam laid down this example for us, who are we to shy away or look down upon these things that, no, I'm not going to do this, basically. This type of attitude, you get it back home. Where India, Pakistan, these places, men, they won't do certain things. That type of thing. I've seen it myself. You might have seen it as well. That type of attitude prevails there. I can see a couple of grins as well, basically. So these things, and something else for the men. Sometimes when you do these things, and you don't do it as a chore, Chalo, I've got to do it. I've got to tick that box off. Yeah? No, you do it because you want to do it. These things, because they're not part of your normal daily working routine, they can be what for you? Who's going to tell me? Therapeutic. They can actually be therapeutic for you. It's an outlet. You've had a busy day. Yeah? You've had a busy day. Just you hoovering inside the house or doing some other chores, basically. Like, gardening, they say is therapeutic. It's very good for the heart, for the mind, etc. Gardening. I don't know if anybody does gardening here who can relate to this. No? Yes? Yes, we've got one or two people. Okay, so same way, this can be therapeutic for us. That basically is beneficial. It has a beneficial, therapeutic means it has a beneficial effect on the heart, on the mind. It's an outlet. Your job is something completely different. You've been busy all day. But in the evening, after you've ate, everything is done, basically, you're washing up or you're hoovering, etc. This can actually be therapeutic for you. But that's if you don't treat it as a chore, as a job, as a tick box exercise. Moving on, as I said, that the most important focus is this tarbiyah of your son, of our children. It begins from a young age. I see kids in our madrasa. Sometimes when you have party inside the madrasa, etc., you tell a kid who's 13 years old, Allah, by forget hoovering, he can't even undo the wire. He can't even undo the wire of the hoover. That's how bad things are. There's no basically ability or capacity and no competence in basic household chores. Because parents run around and they do everything for that child, and there's no fostering of independence that let me teach my child, some basic stuff. After you eat, at least lift your plate up. Okay? Help put the dastarkhan away. Okay? Every now and then you need to hoover. In fact, not every now and then. It should be, several times a week. And our kids can't do this. In madrasa, I always tell our teachers that if you're going to send a child to the office for some chore, send someone who's got a bit of buddhi. Sometimes we get children coming to the office and they've forgotten the message they were sent with. And I think to myself, why did the teacher pick this child for? Ya Allah. Okay? Send someone with some buddhi. When we're in the office, we're busy. We've got 20 things going on. And then you got a little child coming. Okay? And just on this point of tarbiyah, it begins at an early age. I'll tell you something else. I think I've already might have mentioned it. Child enters madrasa from reception level 1. From reception level 1, after I've taken about 5-6 assessments of the class, got to know the children, wallahi, we can tell in madrasa where this child is heading. We can tell. And sometimes we can tell, ye bacha hafiz banega. We can tell from reception, because you can see the rigor inside their, effort levels. You can see the effort levels from home as well. You can tell this child's going to become hafiz. This child will be giving us trouble till the day he leaves. We get one or two like that as well. Shararati. Okay? You can tell. And I'm not basically being biased. I tell the reception teachers that just watch this child. And wallahi, when they're in level 3 and 4, we see the same result. the exact same prediction which was made in reception. So, how? Because we just discussed it. The first 5 years are the most important in the child's life. Before they've come to madrasa, their mind is already developed. They have developed at such a fast pace. That development of the first 5 years, you're not going to get it from the age of 6 till 10, 11. You're not going to get that same level and rapid development what you will see in the first 5 years. The child has already formed themselves and matured in different aspects of their life. Sometimes as parents, we don't realize it. We don't realize that my child's only 4 years old, but very strong-headed. Oh yes, very strong-headed, basically. Very firm in what they want, what they don't want. Sometimes you meet a random child and you do salam to them and you just talk to them for 1 minute. The confidence level of that child is such, you can tell, mashallah, this child is jokus. You can tell. You can tell straight away. So just to conclude again today, that may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the understanding, the ability to focus on the tarbiyah of our children, the upbringing of our children, which is in all aspects, not just in mannerisms and character, but also in aspects such as household chores, etc. And we need to appreciate that my child is not going to become Junaid Baghdadi inside the masjid, madrasa or Darul Ulum. He will become Junaid Baghdadi because of the tarbiyah at home from an early age. Madrasa, Darul Ulum is place of education. It's where education is imparted. It's not a place where somebody comes and now they've got issues and the madrasa is going to work on them. There's no time. What are we going to do in 2 hours? Yes, you can impart advices, nasiha, which will benefit someone who's got some basic level of tarbiyah already from home. They've got their foundation right, alhamdulillah. Then the madrasa will benefit that child even more. They will develop more and more, and they will actually appreciate teachers when they give them targheeb, advice, nasiha, etc. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the ability to look after our children. And just to conclude today with 2 more things. I mentioned earlier, every profession does not have to be suitable for us. It might be halal but not suitable. I don't know if you've been watching the news yesterday. Basically, a young person, I think he was an Asian Hindu, age 21 in Yorkshire. What did he do? Come on. Nobody's watching the news in Ramadan, mashallah, at least you're all focused on the Quran. What did he do? Age 21, he was a trainee police officer at West Yorkshire Police. On the 3rd of March, just a few days ago, what did he do? Committed suicide. Come on, man, 21 years old, ya Allah. If that happened to our child, what would happen to us? Our life would turn upside down. Why did he commit suicide? He was bullied, discrimination, no support. The senior police officers used to ridicule him to the extent that once when they found a dead body in a river, as a, like a macho thing, I don't know what you call it, these senior police officers said to this guy, whose name was Anughra, that's why I'm assuming he's a Hindu, okay? So they said to him that you need to do the body search by yourself. But this guy is a trainee police officer, never in his life he's seen a dead body, yeah? And he basically couldn't do it, and he started vomiting, okay? Usually, basically, if there was somebody with him, support 3, 4 other people, understandable, they might have given him a minor role, okay? So this kid, 21 years old, committed suicide. Ya Allah. Like I said, the profession might be good, it might be well paying. Your child might have some badge, before their name or some title. But like I said, every job out there is not necessarily suitable for us. And just, although this happened last year in June 2022, it's been in the news again this week because of the inquiry going on. Junior doctor in which town? Come on. She also committed suicide. Asian. Anybody? Birmingham. In the Queen Elizabeth Hospital, a junior doctor. You'd think a doctor, doctors are an important person. They are there to look after us and save lives. In Queen Elizabeth Hospital, there was a toxic culture, basically, of bullying, okay, intimidation of junior doctors. And in 1 year, 4 junior doctors have committed suicide there. 4 junior doctors. And this junior doctor, from an strong Asian background, basically, she committed suicide in June 2022. And you'd think a doctor, oh my God, they're sorted for life. They'll be earning 60, 70, 80 grand, living in some grand mansion. It's all beyond now. What is it? Is it Barton or Broughton? That's where people are heading to nowadays. Fullwood is the new Deepdale, basically. Fullwood is the new Deepdale. So, you'd expect that. No, look at this junior doctor. Female, Asian. So I want to, really hammer this point home that every career, every profession, it might be halal, doesn't necessarily have to be suitable for us, especially when you've got all this going on. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us a better understanding. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdik. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.